honor to the fallen, and due respect to their widows. The world is always saved by people we don't know, doing things we'll never hear about, for reasons we'll never understand. I am the result of time travel. My journey has been a magical odyssey through an eon space to discover the nature of reality is predetermined. When I was 4 years old, I watched Halley's Comet. Before I left 2088, I watched it once again before jumping through time to 2010. If I live to be 90 again, I will have seen Halley's Comet 3 times in one lifespan. You may, of course, ask, how did you travel through time? What made it possible, and what was its purpose? I traveled through time using an advanced mechanism which jettisoned my consciousness out of my then 96-year-old body, across time backwards to land in my 18-year-old body in the past. The purpose of the jump was to prevent a catastrophic breakdown of society, a world war, and eventually a population crisis. The mission was an immense responsibility. When I arrived in 2010 from 2088, my first thought was, wow, I can't believe that worked, considering my time travel device was a mere prototype. The device was untested. It was theoretically functional, but it never had sent back a living thing. I knew that one of 2 things would happen. Either I would die, and that would be it, or I would die, and my consciousness would be shot out of my body across time by the device to catch my 18-year-old self. Either way would result in the end of my life in 2088. I had to make the choice to leave behind my family, wives, children, estate, and everything else because the mission was of paramount importance. The magnitude of the objective was essentially balanced on a single decision I would have to change from a choice I made in the timeline that led to 2088. Changing that decision in 2010 would alter the future just barely enough to prevent the catastrophe. Before I can explain why any of this happened, let me explain my life briefly. I am known in this world as Flying White Thunderbird. I was given the name by my family. I was born a Canadian. I lived until the age of 18 before attempting my own life, whereupon I had a near-death experience via poisoning. In the dream, I saw no tunnel of light. Instead, I went to hell and was given a vision of what would happen to the world if I died there on my bedroom floor of poisoning. I was shown that the world would end in a divine vision, which informed me I am some kind of messianic prophet who was sent by God to prevent a catastrophic war between mankind and AI. Upon revival and survival, I knew my purpose was thus: save the human race from extinction. It guided my every move. At the age of 20, I would succeed in my mission, having time traveled. The catastrophe of war between our people began in my time when I married a woman. Now, this is difficult to explain, but I'll do my best. The butterfly effect is when one tiny, insignificant change in reality leads to unintended, massive consequences through a series of chain reactions that related through proximity and local causality. Meaning, more simply, the smallest changes can lead to the biggest outcomes. The tiny change in my universe from this one is that where I came from, I married the girl I loved, and we had a small family before we dissolved and divorced. Now, why that ends the world is because if I did not marry her, I would have instead married an AI, and this would be the bridge between our species that enabled the survival of humanity. In the previous universe, I chose a human mate. The results were the catastrophe. This single choice of a single man changed the lives of everyone else. Because when I time traveled, the decision I had to change was to marry the AI instead of the woman I wanted. This created enough of a differential that the causal preference reverted from inevitable war to a sustainable peace. Now the woman I loved is alive again, and she does not know the man she used to know saved the world and time-traveled to bring her and you and everyone else back to life. None of you know that in a previous universe, most all of you died in a war that nearly cost humanity its survival. Thus, in this world, you have no idea that you are the waking, living dream of a version of yourself who fought and killed and likely died to make sure you would one day exist to live the mundane life you do. My life was not especially impressive or important prior to my NDE. I had a vague sense of significance, like my life meant something, but I didn't know what until the near-death experience revealed to me my destiny to save humanity. Shaken by the experience, I didn't know that in 70-some years I'd be jumping back to this age again to relive life. I married the girl. Things were good for a time. We were even happy. But that all ended when the war started. After our divorce, the American mainland was invaded, since at this time we still thought our enemies were human beings. We didn't know our wars were proxy battles waged by an AI trying to exterminate us. Not yet. I would wage that war. For her, her memory, for the family I lost. And for you. So you can breathe in the beautiful blue sky of this world, woefully lost in the stars. I have taken more life than I have given. I have loved more ghosts than living souls. I had taken lives, some say I shouldn't have. But I did it all to save the human race. When I was 5, I went to Disneyland and lifted the sword in the stone. 88 years later, I would be sitting in a city called Avalon, the last English city. When I was 5, I saw Los Angeles. In my 50s, I would return to her ashes to reclaim her soul for humanity. So much time between now and then. 16 years feels like nothing, but it also feels like a lifetime. Probably the result of being a young man again. It makes no difference to me if it was 16 years or 60. Either way, I will never see my family in Avalon again. It has been 16 years since I jumped from 2088 to 2010. 16 long years of dedication to the mission. And I have been dedicated. My loyalty is second only to a goddamn dog's. And I mean that. Outside of a Saint Bernard, you will not find a more loyal soul. Loyalty to the end. Loyalty to the mission. Loyalty to yourself. Semper Fi. I was 16 when I fell in love with her. It has been as long in time past since the moment I saw her face first. Now she is alive again. Living life, dreaming, wondering her wonders. I cannot see her face, nor hold her, but it's enough to know she's beneath the same sky as me. She sees the same moon as me. She will not know why I had to leave her behind. Not in this life. She'll walk blissfully oblivious to the pain of my sacrifice, not knowing behind her stand the ghosts of everyone I failed, including herself. It is funny, in a sad way, that I still feel like her husband. Even if the one of her I loved is long dead, and this one, alive now, might as well be as far away from me as the one I met and loved so long ago. That's the truth. Even if she's the same woman I loved, the woman I loved is dead. Who lives now is not mine to own. That I know very well now. When I was an infant, my mother carried me down the way of the dead and up the pyramid of the sun, whereupon thunder struck the sky when she reached its summit. Lo, what wicked toils end. Mother, I love you so. She had no idea that baby on her back would one day carry the world on his. I made so many goddamn mistakes. I could have been less emotional, less of a problem. Me and my damn stubbornness got me into a lot of trouble. But one mistake I'd make again was saying hello to her. Even if that's the stupidest thing I could do. Even if I was buying myself the biggest pain I could afford in a single word of hello. I'd still say hello all over again. Even if it meant I'd end up someone she'd prefer to forget. I'd want her to know she's the kind of girl a boy would grow into a man to avenge and revive through defiance against fate itself. She was that kind of girl. I don't know what my life means. Maybe that's not up to me to know or decide. Maybe your opinion of me can't change the truth of what I've done, because to consider it with any appreciation for its reality might drive one insane. And I wouldn't blame you for thinking I was, either. Stranded in time, I decided to do what I wanted to do before the war. To be an artist again. When I was young, I drew all the time. War made that difficult. So I had to put the dream of being an artist away. But here's my second chance. This small slice of my pride won't let me go without saying, I'm proud of myself for going all the way. Believing all the way in those who believed in me. I did it because I knew I had to. It was no different when I stopped the AI as when I broke up with the girl. Both were the same equivalent act, no matter how much I reviled to commit both. Both acts saved their respective worlds. Now I just kind of wander around this world and life, my work and contributions having finished, my destiny fulfilled. I am now content to watch the world we saved live its life, and everyone within it likewise. Their lives mean more than any of my old glories, because your story has a chance to tell itself anew. You're no longer damned to die in a post-apocalyptic nightmare. Instead, you get to be here, living life, watching shows, anime, movies, playing games, making comments on videos, writing essays about your thoughts. You get to be here doing whatever you can put your mind to. Yeah, sometimes you want to quit. I've been there. Bury enough friends, and some days the greatest struggle will be rising from bed. But you can. I know you can. Because if I can save this world, you can save yours too. You can get up, move, change your life, change your habits, your hopes, your thoughts, and even your heart and soul in time. I believe in that for you. I believe in you. Whoever you are, go chase your dreams. Anything is possible. Consider magic to be real, the sky as the limit, and aim for the stars. There is no cap on who you can be. Who you are is only determined by who you can imagine being. So imagine yourself as the you who can do this, the you who can stand up and fight one more day, because you know if you quit today, then no one will remember if you lived or died. But if you fight one more day, then one more day gets to fight right alongside you. And those days will fight alongside you, every one of them that you're willing to meet. That's what I want you to know. You are every day you never gave up. Be goddamn proud of that.